Alright everyone, so check this out. I'm inching closer and closer, as I've always said, to 1,000 subscribers. Help me get to 1,000. That is only my first goal. I'm doing a giveaway, like I've said before. As soon as I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to be giving away a ton of car cleaning products, along with some ceramic coating from AVALONKING. But to get entered in that, this is how you do it. So my wife and I, we actually own our own apparel company. So to be entered in to win the car cleaning products and the AVALONKING ceramic coating, if you go to freedomseatapparelco.com, every shirt purchased will count as 5 entries. Every hat purchased will count as 2. So if you purchase 2 shirts, it's going to count as 10, 2 hats, 4, so on and so forth. You catch the drift. I will put a link to Freedom Seed in the description, and if you use promo code TRIGGER, that's going to save you 20%, and that is how we're going to keep track on who is entered as soon as they reach 1,000 subscribers. So promo code TRIGGER will save you 20% at checkout. So I'm actually putting this video together because I wanted to actually talk about my plans going forward for this winter. A lot of people this time of year, they store the cars in the garage. You know, they start buying parts for the cars, whether it starts with like the Black Friday specials going forward. Between now and springtime is when they, you know, usually have their car down and they add stuff to their car. So my plans going forward don't really include the car being garage kept continuously because, well, it's November and it's 78 outside. So not just what I plan on doing now. I want us to talk about my plans this winter with the car, my next probably 2-year plan going forward with the car, and also my advice for anyone that has thought about or is still thinking about starting a YouTube channel, particularly an automotive channel that hasn't started a channel yet, and they just haven't picked up a camera yet, and they just haven't done anything yet, which was what my regret is not starting my channel soon enough. So my advice, I wanted to chat a little bit with anybody that has thought about picking up a camera, that is just quite unsure about it, and why I think now is a better time than ever to start a channel. So as I said before, the next big thing swap over that I'm doing for this car is I'm going E85. If you're new to the channel and haven't seen my car or anything of the content I posted before in the past, this is my 2012 Shelby GT500. It's got a VMP Gen 2R supercharger, LTH long tube headers and X-pipe, Borla-Tac exhaust, boost the pump in the rear. It's lowered on iBox Sportline springs. 1314 headlight swap, 1314 upper and lower grille, Shelby heat exchanger, 1314 taillights also in the rear, McLeod RXD clutch, and the MGW shifter. I think that's just about everything. Oh, and the 56-pound injectors and the catch cans, which I recommend anybody to have, especially on the passenger side. Get a catch can if you don't have one already. That one's not really necessary. Obviously colder intake also as well with the 57 mil throttle body. I think that's just about everything. So between January, April timeframe, around there is when I'm hoping to get this thing converted over to the whole E85 swap. That's including the injectors, fuel rails, everything, you name it. And I'm probably going to get that done over at HPP, which I have this currently tuned to HPP right now. I highly recommend HPP. I'll put their link and information in here also as well. So I've had cars in the past that have had E85, but not a GT500, not anything that is on this sort of power that I have currently. I am sitting at, last year I got dynoed at 705 to the tires on 93. That was on a hot, humid day when that happened. So I put down 705 power to the tires. Torque, I want to say, was right around 660. I gotta look at my dyno sheet, but that sounds about right. So I know the E85 is going to completely change the whole aspect and whole dynamic of everything in the car. I know it's going to help the car run a lot cooler. It's not going to run as hot. It's going to run a lot smoother. Obviously, let alone the power itself is going to be a night and day difference with the car. And like I said before, it'll be a lot safer when you're running that kind of power. And to be honest, once I do the 85, probably not going to do much more power wise until I build the bottom end. For anybody that has a 2010, or actually I guess you could say 07 to 14 GT500, the weak points on these cars is the rods. you don't really want to go too much above the 800 horsepower wheel range, because anything past that, much past that, you're pretty much on borrowed time. So I don't want to risk any of that. I've blown engines before multiple times, and I don't want to go down that road again. So that's plan one going forward. First and foremost is the swap over from 93 to 85. I'm going to have a flex fuel tune also as well. I want to be able to go back and forth between the 93 that I have now and the 85. Secondly, going forward after that, I need a stickier tire in the rear. I got the PS4s on there now. It's a good summer tire, but when you're putting down anything north of like 700 horsepower, even at a 60 roll, you have trouble with traction. If it's anything below, at least from what I've experienced, anything below like 80 outside, doesn't matter how hot the tires are, it still has trouble with traction. So I don't know, I might go drag radial with skinnies in the front, which I've talked about in the past, or I might just go with just an overall stickier tire that can also fit the factory wheels that I have also as well. I haven't quite decided which way I want to go with that. I may just get a stickier tire. I'm not going to be using this thing a whole lot at the drag strip. I still intend on taking it to see what this thing can do in a quarter mile. I don't want to, that's not my full intention with the car. I mainly roll race this thing, 40 rolls, 60 rolls, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm not building this thing to be a drag car. So number two is definitely going to be a stickier tire. All right, and number three might come before the tires. I don't know, haven't decided yet. Maybe you guys can help me on this. I do have the 13-14 taillight swaps on this, because the 2010 to 12 taillights, in my opinion, are absolutely disgusting. So I got these taillights off my first Mustang I ever owned. Was a 2014 V6. I swapped over those taillights onto this. Now they're nice. In my opinion, these are the best taillights that you could put on any car or on any Mustang out of any year. 13-14 are my favorite design out of all the taillights. Now, although I'm not going to sell these or get rid of these, I'm also throwing on the idea about doing those Euro taillights. I know that was huge about 6 months back. A lot of people did the 13-14 Euro style taillight swaps. Thinking about maybe doing those, even though it's not a huge drastic change. But in my opinion, on a black car, it takes away the red on those. It kind of just blends into the car. I think they look fire. I think they look awesome. But is that something I should pick up? Do you think that would be something? I mean, it's not too much of like a drastic change, but those small, fine details, in my opinion, I mean, can make a big change. Number four, cams. Going cams in 85. What I currently have now, putting down 700 wheel cams plus 85. I don't know if I should do both of those until I build the bottom end, because that's going to put me at or above the 800 wheel horsepower mark, and I don't really want this to be knocking on heaven's door quite yet on a factory block. So the cams, I'm gonna get done also probably, that is my 2 to 3 year plan with this car, but that might wait, or I might do that at the same time as I build the bottom end and port the heads and, you know, all that stuff. So I just some things you just want to be careful with, and you just don't want to go overboard and then send like a piston to the moon or something drastic like that. So I've been there before, not with this car, but with other cars. I don't really want to go down that route again, especially on a Shelby. Okay, and secondly, I wanted to touch on a little bit. I know people that watch my channel have reach out and express that they've thought about starting a channel, and they thought about doing this and doing that and picking up a camera, but they just haven't yet. From my experience, man, I'm telling you, I sat on this and I waited for a good 2 years, solidly thinking if I should start a channel, what kind of car content do I want to talk about and what kind of car content do I want to film. So a lot of it I overthought. I overthought the whole process, trying to be too perfect with everything. And I guess my advice for anybody that is watching this that wants to start a channel or has started a channel, but they just haven't been too consistent with it, they're just unsure of themselves or their car because it's, you know, only a 5.0 or it's only something that, in their opinion, they think it's not going to be appreciated. But in my opinion, I would have started already. So if you haven't started putting a channel together. If it's something you want to do and strive for, start it, man. I honestly should have started a channel years ago, like before I was even into Mustangs and V8s. I was an import dude, I'll say that right now. I had an Acura, I had an Eclipse. That Eclipse though was one of the fastest cars I've ever owned, but it was still a 4-cylinder. That's the car, blew engines in, blew trannies. That thing was just a wreck. Anyway, I honestly should have started a channel back when I had my V6, because it wasn't just your standard everyday 3.7 V6. It may or may not have had a 100 shot of nitrous on it, among a bunch of other stuff also as well, that could keep up and even gap some 5.0s. And it would have been some fun content to film. I wish that I did. But like I said, man, sometimes you overthink processes and you just delay and you just don't start. And that's not with just starting a YouTube channel. That's with anything, man. If you think about starting something, because like another example, our apparel company, I've thought about starting our apparel company for years, and starting anything up from the ground up, whether it's a YouTube channel, apparel company, just anything in general that you start up from the ground up yourself. It's not easy. It's fucking hard work. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, whether it be a YouTube channel and or apparel companies or anything in general. If you want something to be successful and continue to be profitable, man, it takes work. But if it's something that you enjoy, pick up a camera, man. All right, well, I hope that might have helped out a few people that are on the fence about starting a channel and picking up a camera if they're just not quite sure about it. If it's something that you truly want to do and you just haven't yet, pick up a camera. So wanted to talk a little bit about that. And like I said at the start of this, my plan going forward with the 85, the tires and the cams and so on and so forth, my next probably 2 to 3 year plan with the car. So let me know what you guys think. If you guys are watching this and you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and as I always say, I will catch you guys in the next one. See ya.